Hey everyone, welcome to Dalton Draws, a series where the title tells you exactly what the show is. This is part of a 5-episode series for Super Smash Bros. Each episode will cover characters introduced in a different game in the series. This week's episode focuses on all the fighters added in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I should make an important distinction right now because I know people are going to ask about this. Yes, I will be drawing all the DLC fighters, but none of the ones from the Fighters Pass will be in this video. That really should go without saying since only Joker has been announced so far, but as more fighters are announced, I'm sure people will be finding this video and asking, hey, where's so-and-so? The only DLC fighter in this video is Piranha Plant. The 5 Fighters Pass characters will get a separate video later on. My rule is that I'm going to draw them once there's an official render to use as reference. As for the characters that are in this video, Smash Ultimate has an interesting set of newcomers. Most of the fighters this time around are fan favorite requests, and feel more like they're filling in gaps in the roster from previous games. Admittedly, this is the least exciting set of newcomers to me because they were all fan favorite picks. I tend to prefer the slightly more, I don't want to say niche, because they're still Nintendo characters, but the less popular ones. But hey, a lot of people got characters they've been wanting for a long time. Just because choices don't appeal to me specifically doesn't mean that they're not good picks. Even before Smash Ultimate was announced for Switch, I think everyone and their grandma predicted Inklings would be in the next game. The Wii U didn't introduce very many potential new characters, and Splatoon was a breakout hit on a system that desperately needed one. As with some of the other characters, I'm only drawing one male and one female version of the Inklings. I personally prefer some of the other designs they used as alt costumes, but I went with the orange and blue since those are the default designs for each gender. I've played them a bit in Smash Ultimate, but I haven't been a fan of having to refill my ink so much. But having played plenty of Splatoon and Splatoon 2, that is pretty accurate to the games. I tend to use Ink Saver on most of my gear in Splatoon 2 just to get around having to refill all the time. I can't even count how many times I've run out of ink at the worst possible moment in a match. The Splat Roller is my weapon of choice for the most part, and that runs through ink pretty fast. Sometimes I'll mix it up and use the Splattershot Jr. or the Ink Brush, but the roller has been my go-to weapon for most of my time with Splatoon 2. I'm honestly surprised it took so long for Daisy to be added to Smash. She's been an alternate color for Peach for so long, and I'm surprised they didn't just make her an actual alt in Smash 4, like they did with Olimar and Alf. Though, I gotta be honest, I don't have much to say about her. I haven't actually tried Daisy in Ultimate yet. I play a lot of Peach in the game, but I also prefer her as a character, so I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. I've played a lot of Peach in the sports games and other Mario spin-offs, but I rarely play as Daisy. Still, I'm glad she's in the game, even if she should have been added well before Ultimate. I honestly never expected to see Ridley make it into Smash. I was one of the people that thought Ridley was too big, and trying to shrink him down would mess with his design too much. That being said, the way Sakurai and the devs handled his design is pretty fantastic, and it manages to convey his scale without making him look, well, too big. I had a different sketch for Ridley initially, but I decided to go with this pose to better fit his size and reference it. He's drawn far larger than any of the other characters. Typically I used a 1700 by 1700 canvas for most characters, and a 2100 by 2100 for the more realistic characters. For Ridley, I went with a 3300 pixel wide canvas, which is the size of the entire poster. Most of that is being used for his wings, but it's going to allow him to be at the highest point of the poster and kind of serve as a ceiling for it. I didn't expect to see Simon join the battle. Well, until Nintendo accidentally posted Castlevania music the night before he was revealed. Whoops. But I'm also not too surprised by his inclusion either. He was another popular choice, especially in the Smash ballot, and the Castlevania franchise has a long history with Nintendo. If Konami was to get a second character, it was either him or Bomberman, though I would have loved if both had been playable. Also, his reveal trailer was incredible, even if it came at the cost of Luigi's life. I love how he plays in Smash Ultimate, and I love the design they went with for him. But I actually don't play as Simon much because I play as Richter instead. I like his design even more, I like his personality, and I like the slight differences in how he plays. That being said, I'm awful with him. I definitely have way more losses than wins using him, but he's just plain old fun to play as. The Holy Water is a great trick to bust out when the opponent gets too focused, and it helps to keep some range for the whip attacks. The Cross and Axe both hit way harder than you would expect, and while I don't get much use out of the uppercut, it's fun to land a hit with it. The real thing that tripped me up though is that he has a tether recovery, but it's not on Z like most other tethers. For a while I didn't know that all I had to do was just attack in midair to use it. But I'm getting better with him now, and I can't wait to play as him some more. Chrom was another fighter I expected to see in Smash 4, just because he fit in with the trend of the types of Fire Emblem characters set by Marth and Ike. You know, the blue-haired protagonist. But Lucina also fits that role, and I'm glad they went with her instead. But here he is, finally getting his chance. I was surprised he was a Roy Echo, but it works. Only thing I don't like is, oddly enough, the one move that makes him distinct from Roy. His up B doesn't feel nearly as good as Roy's. From an art standpoint, I'm split on his design. It looks cool, but it also feels needlessly complicated. That's kind of a trend with the Fire Emblem characters in Smash, where they looked cool but were a pain to draw. Once Chrom was finished, it's like a great weight was lifted, and I was able to easily finish the rest. I'll be honest, I'm not super familiar with Dark Samus. I know what the character is, but since I don't play Metroid at all, I'm not sure if they have a personality at all, or if they're just a silent monster or what. Still, what little knowledge I had was enough to focus on the corrupted suit aspect of the design. I tend to draw armor pretty bulky in my art, and I think that ended up looking pretty cool with Dark Samus. Plus, the color scheme ended up making things pretty easy to color and shade, which was welcome after Chrom. King K. Rool was probably the biggest fan request after Ridley, and he feels the most like a character that's filling in a gap in the roster. I'm not a huge fan of K. Rool in the Donkey Kong games, but he should have been in Smash for the longest time. He's Donkey Kong's most iconic antagonist. Well, I suppose aside from Mario himself in Donkey Kong Jr., Mario might be a little more iconic. I've only played a little bit of him so far, but I love how he plays. He's a total powerhouse, and all of his moves are super goofy. One of the best things Smash Ultimate did was bring in more heavyweight characters, and K. Rool is a great example of that. I expected to love playing Isabelle. I'm a villager main, and Isabelle is a great character in the Animal Crossing series, but to be honest, I still prefer villager. Still, I love that she's in Smash now. She's one of the least fitting characters to be beating up other Nintendo characters, and it's just hilarious. Just look at her. She's great. And now for the original Echo, and I'm not talking about Luigi. I prefer playing as Ken over Ryu, but I need more practice to really get a feel for playing as him. His moves are more rigid than I expected, but his speed and more kick-heavy moveset just appeals to me more. Plus, he's just got a cool design and personality. You know, maybe cool isn't the best choice of words, considering his trailer referenced Heat a lot, but whatever, you know. Incineroar was rumored to be in Smash for a long time before his reveal, and to be honest, I kind of didn't want him at first. Everyone insisted that a Gen 7 Pokemon had to be in the game, and they were ultimately right of course, but I don't know. I feel like picking a Pokemon to be a new fighter shouldn't always be tied to the current generation when there's hundreds of others to choose from. But then we got the reveal trailer for Ken and Incineroar, and my mind was changed. Incineroar is awesome, and a perfect fit for Smash Bros. Having a wrestling-themed character that's so over the top, it just works, and it makes him feel like one of the most standout Pokemon in the game. And now for the final fighter in this video, the first DLC character in the game, and probably the most surprising character. I mean, the wild crossovers Smash Bros. Is known for are huge and all, but how many people ever truly expected a Piranha Plant to join the battle? There's not a ton to say here since, at the time of this video, the character hasn't been released yet, but one thing is certain. I need to see what the Kirby hat will look like for this character. With all those characters finished, it's time to put the last set of characters in place. I finally had to increase the size of the poster to fit everyone. I was hoping to avoid doing that, but the poster was sketched before everyone was announced, and Smash 4 took up more space than expected. I'm considering making another version of the poster that would work better as a smartphone wallpaper. This one's just a bit too tall for that. Thankfully, all the characters can be adjusted and rearranged, so as I add the DLC over time, I might make adjustments to the layout. I'll probably keep Ridley at the top and the original 12 fighters in the same spots, but others can be moved. And with that, everyone is here. Everyone before the Fighters Pass, anyways. Those 5 characters will be saved for a later video, so no Joker yet. He's been announced, but I'm waiting for an official render to use as reference, just in case his design has any differences compared to Persona 5. So, what's next for Dalton Draws? This show got new life from all these Smash Bros. Episodes, and I'm hoping all of you will stick around for whatever comes next. Before Smash Bros., I had started drawing these frequent doodles of various characters from games, movies, cartoons, and more. You know, now that the poster is done, maybe that's how I'll continue Dalton Draws. I'll record those doodles and put them up in compilations like this. Heck, maybe I'll include the Fighters Pass characters in those. A question I got a lot while working on this was if I was going to sell the poster. I'm not planning to sell it, but I will make the full poster available on Patreon for anyone to download, regardless of if they're a patron or not. That being said, if you enjoyed the work on this series, I implore you to consider supporting my work on Patreon. I put lots of stuff on there. Full-res artwork, early access to my webcomic, frequent updates for patrons, and so much more. And all of that is available for just $1 a month. I want to continue making awesome stuff like this, and I need your help for that. And with that, part 5 is complete. Tune in next time for some new artwork. If you want to see the art of each individual character and keep up with my work, follow me on Twitter. And if you like the content I produce and want to help me continue with it, you can support this channel on Patreon. Thanks for watching. Later.